Hey guys, John W. Quinn here, the author of Someone Like Me. Time for my weekly video blog. Last week I was watching a television show called West Coast Customs. It's a show where it's about this auto body shop where they modify and redesign vehicles for mostly high-end clients, celebrities, sports figures and the like. And they normally deal with Maseratis and Cadillacs, and Lamborghinis and the like. Pretty cool. I like watching that kind of stuff. But anyways, this week they had a guy who was in a wheelchair, had a disability, was in a wheelchair, and he wanted West Coast to design a vehicle for him so that he could drive around in a cool vehicle. And so West Coast, they sat down and they put a lot of thought behind it, and they came up with a Ford Explorer that had an ingenious way of him coming into the vehicle and getting secured in the vehicle, where it was great. It was great, and it got me thinking: why is it that we don't have more product thought put behind things that people with disabilities use? Why aren't people with disabilities thought of when products are designed and engineered? And I'm not just talking about vehicles. I would love to see the day when somebody in a wheelchair can walk into a Ford or Chevy dealership and buy a vehicle like I just described. That's the way it should be. But sadly it's not. And if I was a company, whether it be Apple Computer or Nike or Reebok or whatever company you want to talk about, to say that, yeah, you know what, we've thought about people with disabilities, and here are the products that we're coming out for their use. I mean, for example, like women's shoes. I know a lot of females that have cerebral palsy have a hard time buying beautiful shoes for themselves, because a lot of the top-end shoes don't have the proper ankle support that people with cerebral palsy need for themselves. I'm sure that these companies can design these products if the voices were loud enough to say this is what we want, because it's a question of supply and demand. But it's an untapped market. There's 1 in 5 people in the United States have a disability. I think the latest census figures were like 56 million people. That's a huge number. Are you listening, Apple? Are you listening, Nike? And I know Nike got an email from a reader, Matt Walter, I believe his name was. And Matt's got cerebral palsy, and because he's got CP, he has a hard time tying his shoes. CP affects the muscles in his hands. So he asked Nike to design a pair of shoes that has self-closing system so they could take his shoes on and off, gain a little independence for himself. And you know what? Nike did this. And I think it's wonderful that they did. But Nike, that's one person. How many thousands upon thousands of people deal with that very same issue? And this is what I'm talking about. To have somebody with a disability be able to walk into a shoe store, to be able to walk into a Ford dealership or a Chevy dealership and say, look, I want a product that fits my needs, whatever that need might be. And it might take some focus groups. It might take sitting down and getting some input from people who have actually had to redesign products themselves to fit their own needs. How about some focus groups? I bet you people within the disability community would love to sit down with the CEOs and the product design people around this country on any product you can think of. I know there's a blog on my buddy Handicapped This website, talks about smartphones. People with cerebral palsy have a hard time using smartphones. Texting is tough. Flip phones are being, are going away. But again, that's just one product. That's just one example. So I hope you're listening. You know, I hope corporate America is listening, because I really believe that there's an untapped market when it comes to product development and people with disabilities. I think it's time that, you know, our voices are heard, and I think if we speak loud enough, these companies will listen, and maybe some changes will be made, because I really believe that changes do need to be made when it comes to product development in those of us with disabilities. I'm very fortunate. I don't have to really deal with this issue. So what I would ask, leave a comment on this blog, and let me know the products that you guys have actually had to engineer for yourselves, or re-engineer, or modify, or something that you would wish could be changed to include, you know, people with disabilities, or, you know, just let me know what your thoughts are. I'd love to hear them. So anyways, I think together we can make a lot of change. So that's what's on my mind this week. Hopefully you guys get a chance to read my book. You know, I talk about my book all the time, and I get a lot of comments from people all over the country on my story. So please get a chance to read my book. You can listen to it. I pushed really hard to get it put into audio form. And you can download it on iTunes. And I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinion on it. You can check it out on my website, johnwquinn.com. All right, guys, be well, and let's do it again next week. Take care. Bye-bye.